Hello, I'm back again. My name is Chad. I'm here on Business Simplified with Chad to answer some of the questions that you have pertaining to businesses. So I try to be as practical as I can be in answering some of your questions. I try to simplify business so that anybody can understand, the basic business terms as well as how business operates. So today I'm going to be tackling a question pertaining to raising capital. And I received this question from someone who was asking me, how do I raise capital in Zimbabwe? So maybe before we even talk about ways of raising capital, we probably need to understand what capital is. For me, I've got a very simple, basic definition of capital, and I define capital as wealth. And you may or may not require that capital to start a business. So what are the forms of capital? And I think once you understand the different forms of capital, it becomes easy for you to raise it. Because most often we try to raise capital without actually knowing what capital is, because there's a myth around capital. There's a myth that capital is money. There are a lot of myths that are out there pertaining to capital. So before you even raise capital, you have to understand the different forms of capital that are available. Capital can be constructed. It can be natural. It can be intellectual. It can be relationships. It can be, financial capital, which a lot of you obviously place a particular emphasis on. So capital can be a lot of things. It takes so many different shapes and forms. So once you understand these different shapes and forms of capital, it is easier then to know how to raise it. So if it is human capital you're after, if it is intellectual capital you're after, if it is constructed capital you're after, if it is natural capital you're after, if it is financial capital you're after, it is easier to get that form of capital once you know what it is, and once you know what it is that you actually need. So a lot of people would probably say they want to conduct, say, a farming business, and they would probably say, I don't have capital. So in this regards, they probably mean they don't have the land, they probably mean they don't have the inputs, they probably mean they don't have the skills, they probably mean they don't have all of those things. So now, how do you raise capital for, say, a very simplified business such as that? I spoke about intellectual capital. Intellectual capital can then be the know-how, how to actually farm the produce, how to actually take it to market, and all the processes that are involved in the agric value chain. That is the know-how. So if you do not have that know-how and probably have money, chances are that you're probably going to need somebody who has the know-how for your business to be successful. So this is actually one of the ways of raising capital, raising a team that actually supports and rallies behind the vision that you have is a way of raising capital. Another way of raising capital, using the example of the land, is that, for example, you don't own the land. You probably then go and lease the land from someone. So by leasing the land, you are raising capital. Another way of raising capital in this regard would probably be you don't have the land, you don't have money to pay as a down payment for the lease. So you go on a profit sharing arrangement where you go to the farmer, to the owner of the land, and you say, I intend to utilize your land. Once we take produce to market, we'll share proceeds on a particular ratio. So that is raising capital. Another way of raising capital is pre-sales. So for example, you are running a carpentry or a furniture company and you don't have money to go and buy your inputs. What do? You ask your customer to pay before you deliver the product. So once they pay before you deliver, it probably takes you 7 days to complete the product. You have raised capital by way of pre-sales. So I would want to talk about venture capitalist and other forms of capital that may not necessarily be practical and available in the Zimbabwean context, because we all know what is happening in Zimbabwe. We all know that some of these forms of capital are probably academic than they are practical. So I'm just going to wrap up this topic today. Probably on the next series, I'll talk about other myths around capital, as well as what to do before you get capital, especially if it's financial capital. Because one of the things that I've actually learned from my own personal experience is that sometimes too much capital is as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than lack of capital. So these are some of the things that I'm going to be tackling as we proceed. But the whole point of my vlog is to simplify business to a point where the man on the street can understand. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and I hope that you join me for the next series. Please remember, feel free to send an email. You send an email at consult@abiedu.co.zw. So this email, you can send your recommendation, you can send your questions, you can send your feedback, or even if you require any assistance in terms of turning around your business, if you require any assistance with regards to how to start, run, and grow, I'm your guy. Thank you. This has been Chad Mhako on Simplified Business with Chad Mhako. Thank you so much. Goodbye.